podcast. We're going to run through a few of the Grade 1 races tonight over at Saratoga. In fact, all of the Grade 1 races at Saratoga this evening. Look, it's a fantastic evening of racing. We will hopefully see quite a few nice horses and hopefully a few winners along the way. This is something new from the Turf and Touchdowns podcast as well. If you do want something a little more in-depth, go to our YouTube page right now. You can take in our preview of the Travers, which includes Sovereignty and plenty more. Also, we provide our selections on that podcast. We also do NFL stuff as well. We will be doing a live Listener League draft on our YouTube page pretty much in 24 hours time. That'll be 7:30 tomorrow night. But like I say, Luke Elder here running through a few of the races, starting with the Grade 1 Alan Jerkins. In fact, we'll start with the Grade 1 Personal Ensign, in which we see Torpedo Anna, a horse who, look, from a horse racing point of view, I've always loved Torpedo Anna. I've never fully bought into the real thought that maybe she's going to be an out-and-out superstar from a talent perspective. She's been dominating her division. Hopefully that is something that will continue a little bit further down the line. But at the prices that you're looking at tonight, I'm not 100% on board. You're looking around about even money. That's a little bit short for me with Torpedo Anna. Raging Sea, we know, is also a very talented individual, but that's kind of what we're dealing with in this race. At their best, a lot of these horses are very talented individuals, but it's who's going to turn up on the night. Like I say, at the prices, I could leave Torpedo Anna. I'd take a look at Randomised, who, look, at Saratoga's got a good record, 3 from 6, is operating at 50% at this track. That's a big thing at Saratoga. Saratoga isn't a track that suits absolutely every single horse. However, when they do take to the track, they're suddenly a much better horse here than anywhere else. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case with Randomised, but it's far from a negative that she can win here. Look, she was very good at Monmouth last time at a round in Grade 3 company. In the Ogden Phipps to start prior to that, just had a terrible day. Forget that run ever happened. Obviously was behind quite a few of these, Darth Vader, Dazzling Move, and also Raging Sea. However, she is the prime example of on a going day. She's probably the best horse in this field from a talent perspective. Like I say, Torpedo Anna, yes, goes and gets it done. But I do think Randomised is a horse to take a good look at. Raging Sea, as I say, needs to return to somewhere near her better form. Darth Vader is another horse that will like to try and go forward. If Darth Vader were to get a slower pace up front, then maybe Darth Vader could be one who gets involved. But I do think that Randomised is the one to take from a value perspective. Like I say, price-wise, I'm not sure what the markets are going to do over in America, but price-wise, you're looking around about 7-1 best price over in the UK at the moment. Torpedo Anna is currently around about even money. You can get 11-10, but as I say, at those prices, honestly, she doesn't do a great deal for me. Let's move on to the Grade 1, Alan Jerkins. This might just be the race of the night. Obviously, we've got the Travers still to come. We've got the likes of Book'em Danno taking on Mulligan. But this is a heck of a horse race. You look at the Alan Jerkins, you've got Patch Adams in here, Midland Money. Barnes is obviously going to attract a fair bit of interest and support. You've also got Chancellor McPatrick as well, a horse who, honestly, last year was absolutely fantastic. But this year, he's not quite been the same. Now, the horse that's completely left field in here is Verifier. Verifier is unbeaten so far, 3 from 3. Last time around was very good in the Maxfield Stakes, won by 2 3/4 lengths, but that was his first real task that he's had on a racecourse. Smoke and Wicked was in there, Captain Cook was in there as well, who are also in this lineup. But I do think Verifier is a horse that may take a bit of beating. Now, unfortunately, left field has got all the potential ability in the world, but I use that word potential maybe a little bit fleetingly, is 9-2. There has been support for Verifier throughout the course of the day. Patch Adams is still favourite in the UK. Barnes is also fairly prominent in the market. But I do think if Verifier continues the upward curve, he might just prove himself to be one of the best 3-year-olds in what is a very good 3-year-old class so far. And quite a few of these, they're just finding their way in, aren't they? The likes of Patch Adams. We thought earlier on in the season, maybe he could shape up into a Kentucky Derby horse. That didn't happen. He still managed to win on the Derby undercard. I think it was a race maybe just after Sovereignty won the big one itself. And then he went and won the Woody Stevens when beating Madaket Road. I thought that was a really good effort. Saratoga's no issue for Patch Adams. They were the two that I thought were the most interesting. So Patch Adams and Verifier would be the main one for me. Personally, not a race that I would be betting in myself, but at the same time, Cannot wait to watch this one. This is the most interesting race for me of the night. You can get in touch as well. Obviously, because we are live, we can communicate. So, Cam, good evening to you. Jason, very good evening to yourself. Any selections that you want to leave down below, please do. Like I say, we have previewed the Travers at length on our YouTube page. And that will be like a 20-minute podcast or so. We do that every single week. And we will be starting up our NFL content on the regular. That will be a weekly thing coming up when the season does start. And like I say, we'll have a Listener League draft live on YouTube tomorrow evening. Paul Powley's got in touch. Evening, Luke. Going to have two bets tonight, Darth Vader and Patch Adams. Honestly, I couldn't really put you off either of those. I think they're both two steaming hot contests, Paul, but very best of luck to yourself. We'll move on to the Grade 1 Ballerina, which, look, is a decent race on paper. Obviously, Mystic Lake has scratched from this contest, and we've also lost Zeitlos as well. They're going to be two rather big things regards to how this race is going to set up. But there is still quite a bit of speed in here. My Main Squeeze, obviously, will try and go forward. Hope Road, I think, will try and go forward. We know Scylla will be a horse that's played late and will try and come with a later run. Helena's Forte might be able to get towards the lead just from where Helena's Forte is drawn, and maybe Majestic Oops as well. Obviously, factor in that stall one has scratched, so you are dealing with everyone effectively just moving in once. Look, Brightwork at a big price. I think, again, if he returns to someone near his better form, or her better form, I should say, she could be an interesting runner, but I think she's terribly lost her way in recent starts. Towards the head of the market, you've got the likes of Scylla. We know exactly what Scylla is. It was a slightly lesser effort last time around. Joel Rosario was on board. Flavion Pratt takes the ride here. I think that's a rider upgrade and one that I can get on board with. Was a fair way behind Helena's Forte on that occasion. But if Scylla were to return to somewhere near her best, then she'd have to have a chance in this. She was second in the race 12 months ago behind Society. Society is a horse that kind of peaked around this time of year and is no real shame finishing second behind a horse of that class, but she doesn't win. That's the problem with Scylla. You want to see her get ahead in front a fair bit more than she actually does. She's 5 from 13 lifetime, but like I say, she hasn't won for a little while now. That would be a big concern. I think My Main Squeeze could be the one worth taking. Yes, there might be one or two that want to try and go forward, but she was very good here at Saratoga last time around. She's got a good record at the track. She's 2 from 5 at Saratoga itself. I'm not sure how much depth there actually is in this contest. So I'll take a chance with My Main Squeeze. I fully respect Hope Road as the potential horse. The two latest efforts of Churchill, both in defeat, yes, but they both have been very good behind Copion and also Too Sharp. So look, I'll give My Main Squeeze a go. However, for a betting standpoint, I think the next race is probably the one that I'm most interested in. This is my best bet of the night. And obviously, if you watch the Turf and Touchdowns podcast that we put up on the YouTube channel a few days ago now, you will hopefully have got quite a nice price, because Book'em Danno was a horse that I put up at 11 to 4, I think he was at the time. Now, if you're looking at prices for Book'em Danno, I don't think you're going to get much change out of 15 to 8. He's around that sort of price over in the UK. Honestly, I still think 15 to 8 is a decent price. In fact, 6 to 4, best price now. So look, the market's been tumbling all week. We predicted that was going to happen. If you're on at the 11 to 4, brilliant stuff. Great news. If you're on at 5 to 2, fantastic as well. 6 to 4, I labelled in the podcast that was about the right price. But I just think he wins. Look, he's beaten Mullikin twice. Now, full disclosure, I really thought Mullikin would beat him, I think, 2 starts ago in the True North. Didn't happen. Everything went right for Mullikin, and Book'em Danno managed to beat him nicely. And then he beat him with even more conviction last time around. That was in the Alfred G. Vanderbilt into Grade 2 company. Look, goes into a Grade 1 here. Buceros are taking over North America. We had Bucarino win a nice race earlier on in the week, and Book'em Danno will look to try and one-up Bucarino. But Paco Lopez takes the ride. He's been on board the last 4 times. This horse really runs for Paco. I actually think one of the better runs for Book'em Danno was actually at Churchill Downs in Grade 1 company. That was in one of the hottest races you'll see all year. And that includes what we'll see at the Breeders' Cup as well. Look, Mindframe obviously was in there. Banishing was in there. Nisos was in there as well. The form is working out great. And the thing I love about Book'em Danno for this contest. And again, I've mentioned it plenty in this live and also on the podcast and at Sky Sports Racing, or wherever you're unlucky enough to see my face. He loves Saratoga. 4 runs at Saratoga, 3 wins at the track. And let's look at the speed figures as well the last twice. They're going up. 106 2 starts ago. We're managing to win the True North. Grade 2 company last time around, he went up to a 111. If he runs a 111 in this field, nothing's going to beat Book'em Danno. He will be away and gone. As I say, I really hope you got the 11 to 4 that we mentioned on the podcast earlier on in the week, because that price has pretty much gone now. Like I say, 6 to 4, I think it's about right, but I wouldn't put you off putting him in any multiples of any horses that you do like. I think Book'em Danno will take a ton of beating. Mulliken, it feels weird saying this after my confidence earlier on in the season. I don't think Mulliken's up to beating Book'em Danno. And of the others, there's not many that I'd be getting crazy excited about. You've got Crazy Mason, who's a real closer. He shouldn't really be good enough. Bishop's Bay, potentially on the drop back down for a mile, he might be of interest, but I think he still has to prove himself. His last 2 efforts have come on a wet track. They've both been very good. Irad Ortiz Jr. takes over from Flavion Pratt, who has ridden the last 4 times now. But this is the big boy leagues. Book'em Danno has gone up the grading steadily enough. Bishop's Bay has gone from winning 2 Grade 3 contests to going straight into a really hot Grade 1 race. And Most Wanted was favourite for this race originally. I don't get it, quite frankly. I really thought that Most Wanted would maybe be 3rd or 4th in the market in here. Look, was good last time around at Churchill, but regards to going into real Grade 1 company in the Forgo, wouldn't be for me at all. So Book'em Danno is a confident play for me tonight. But like I say, the price is going. I think 6 to 4 is takeable, but I wouldn't go too much shorter than 6 to 4. You're going to have to go shorter than 6 to 4, though, if you want to back Sovereignty, because he is the star attraction of the night in the Travers. It might not be a vintage renewal of the Travers, but Sovereignty has kind of scared the majority of runners away. He's 4 to 9 best price in the UK at the moment. Magnitude is in here, 9 to 2 best price. I think that's a great each way bet if you can get that 9 to 2, because you're focusing on 2 runners effectively. I think he's going to be second of them. Strategic Focus is 9 to 1, 40 to 1 Bracket Buster, and also McAfee. I won't bore you too much because, as I say, this is a race that we did preview on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast at length in the week, but Sovereignty should just be too good for the rest of the field. His runs at Saratoga so far have been fantastic. I know he was beaten there as a younger horse, but that was earlier on in his life over the wrong trip. His efforts in the Belmont and the Jim Dandy have both been fantastic. They were out to get him last time with Baeza, and they still couldn't get the better of Sovereignty. I think he'll just take a fair bit of beating. But like I say, go check out the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. We cover that race in far more depth than I will be here, as that is the end of the first Turf and Touchdowns live. But if you enjoyed it, you haven't got too long to wait, because we're going to be doing this again tomorrow night. We'll be taking in NFL content with the Listener League. We'll have everyone else from the Listener League drafting alongside myself and Tom Collins. That will be 7:30 tomorrow night. We'll try and be as prompt as we possibly can, and hopefully we'll provide something different on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. So horse races to come next week alongside NFL content. That will be tomorrow night. Best of luck with your bets tonight at Saratoga. From myself, Luke Elder, goodbye.